Hey everybody, this is Tracy here with another edition of A View from Tracy's Point, and we are here with some breaking news. It is being reported that 5 people have been indicted in the death of Elijah McClain. If you guys are not familiar with this case, Elijah was walking down the street. He was returning home after going to the store in Aurora, Colorado, and someone called and said that they were concerned, or he looked suspicious because of the way he was dressed. Police showed up and he ended up dead. And so with all the attention that was being paid to the George Floyd case, Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery, families used that as an opportunity to have their loved ones' cases reopened. And so Elijah McClain was one of those cases that was reopened. And one of the things that really propelled that to being reopened is that several of the officers, or one of the officers and some other police officers, actually went back to the site of his death and just had a very insensitive post about they were trying to lift the spirits of, their comrade who was feeling down. And for some reason, they thought taking him to the place where this young man lost his life was going to lift his spirits. And so that really got the ball rolling. And so this article is from the Colorado Sun, and it says Colorado statewide grand jury has returned a 32-count indictment against the Aurora police officers and paramedics who stopped a 23-year-old Elijah McClain 2 years ago in an encounter that preceded his death, Attorney General Phil Weisner announced on Wednesday. 5 people, 3 police officers and 2 paramedics, each were charged with 1 count of manslaughter and 1 count of criminally negligent homicide after Weiser's office filed the indictment in Adams County District Court on Wednesday. Manslaughter is a Class 4 felony in Colorado, while criminally negligent homicide is a Class 5 felony. The indicted officers are Nathan Woodyard, Jason Rosenblatt, and Randy Rodema. Rosenblatt was fired from the Aurora Police Department last year after he responded to a text message and image of other officers reenacting a neck hold that one police officer used on McClain. The indicted Aurora Fire Rescue paramedics are Jeremy Cooper and Peter Chinukit, Cichuniec, a lieutenant. Sheena McClain, Elijah's mother, said she's grateful that my son is going to have justice. When asked if she thinks the charges are sufficient, she said she is grateful for the charges. I've been crying just thinking about the process that it took. After 2 years to get this report, Sheena said, I'm overwhelmed. I didn't know what the outcome was going to be, honestly. I had no expectations, honestly. Sheena said she is waiting anxiously to see how fast Officers Woodyard and Rodema are fired. I'm not just a crazy mom trying to fight a fight that's not worthy. She said, This is a worthy fight for my son's justice. Weiser spoke about 10 minutes at a news conference where the charges were announced. He didn't take any questions. At the time, I said our investigation would be guided by a commitment to the facts, by thorough and diligent work, and be worthy of public trust and confidence in our criminal justice system, Weiser said during the news conference. These remain our guiding principles for this matter. McClain was stopped by police on August 24, 2019, as he was walking home from a convenience store. Officers approached him after they received a report from a 17-year-old in the area that McClain looked suspicious. McClain had committed no crime, yet officers placed him in a neck hold. The unarmed black man was then injected with ketamine, a powerful sedative. He suffered cardiac arrest and died in the hospital August 30th, 2019. An independent review solicited by the Aurora City Council found that police officers were too quick in their decision making when they stopped McClain, and that investigators did a poor job at documenting the incident. Adams County prosecutors in November 2019 declined to charge any of the first responders involved in the encounter with McClain, but then Governor Jared Polis, facing renewed pressure following social justice protests in Colorado and across the nation last year, appointed Weiser's office to serve as a special prosecutor and review the case for potential criminal prosecution. It was an unprecedented move. Then in January, Weiser opened a statewide grand jury investigation into McClain's death. The panel has subpoena power and is made up of people from across the Denver metro area. The grand jury can have as many as 23 members. No more than a quarter of the members of the statewide grand jury may be from any one county. The members, whose identities and work are kept strictly confidential, are selected by a judge in a consultation with lawyers from the Attorney General's office. As our department conducted our work, it became clear that we needed a grand jury and its enhanced investigative powers to obtain documents and compel testimony from witnesses that otherwise we would not have been able to obtain using ordinary investigative techniques, Weiser said on Wednesday. The Attorney General's office and the grand jury faced several delays over the past year due to the pandemic. The jury convened in December, and the next month began its investigation into McClain's death. Weiser said the grand jury finished its work on Thursday. The indictment wasn't announced until Wednesday because his office wanted to notify McClain's family and the targets of the investigation that a resolution had been reached. The grand jury's work, as well as the investigation by the Attorney General's office, has been shrouded in secrecy. Weiser declined as recently as last week to provide an update on his office's investigation. McClain's death drew renewed scrutiny and international outrage following the murder of George Floyd by police officers in Minneapolis on May 25, 2020. McClain's death also prompted new laws to be passed by the Colorado legislature in 2020 and 2021, seeking to reform how police officers in Colorado can use force. The changes included banning neck holds and strictly limiting when ketamine can be used in situations involving law enforcement outside of hospital settings. McClain family is suing Aurora over Elijah's death, and Sheena McClain has become a champion of police reform efforts. For me, it comes down to the policies and the laws, she recently told Colorado Public Radio, and I'll fight for the rest of my life to make sure people don't use his name in the wrong way. The FBI and federal prosecutors are also investigating McClain's death. Weiser said Wednesday that his office continues to investigate the Aurora Police Department's practices and policies. It's not clear when that ongoing review will be complete. We are here today because Elijah McClain is not here, and he should be, Weiser said in his press conference. He was a son, a nephew, a brother, and a friend. When he died, he was only 23 years old. He had his whole life ahead of him, and his family and friends must go on and live without him. His life is a loss to all of us. And so this is really, really good news because of all the cases that were spotlighted of, police brutality and that type of stuff that was going on and being highlighted in the news, this was the one that really grasped at my heart. And I actually did a video about him when all of this was breaking. And so even though he wasn't diagnosed with autism or any type of special needs, he exhibited those type of traits and behaviors. And just to see him crying and begging for his life as these people are like holding him down on the ground, and then the paramedics come and then give him this drug, not knowing if he was allergic, like he was going to have an allergic reaction, or if he was going to go in cardiac arrest, as he eventually did. And so it just really, 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 really broke my heart to see this happening. And I am so happy that charges have been filed in this case, and that these officers, the officers, I believe, need to go to jail. The paramedics may need some training because they were just responding to the information that the officers were giving them. But the police officers definitely need to do some jail time. And so I will definitely be following this story to see, the outcome and what happens when they go to trial. So just wanted to bring this breaking news to you guys. Go ahead, leave your comments below and rate the video if you haven't done so already. And I shall talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.